Hello, all, and welcome to episode number 5 of the No Holds Barred podcast. Before we talk about what we got to talk about, I want to reflect on Sunday, July 22nd, 2018, as a horrific incident occurred in Toronto's Danforth community. TJ and I do send our deepest condolences, thoughts, and prayers to anyone affected by the tragedy. We're not close to the Danforth, but we're close enough to where it felt like we hit us. We were at Slammiversary Sunday night, where the incident was probably only about 15 minutes from where we were, so we're just glad to be safe. But at the same time, too, it's just a devastating incident all in all. Everything in Toronto. We are Toronto strong, Danforth strong. TJ, just want to give you your quick thoughts on everything that happened Sunday, and just, sending your thoughts and prayers to everyone that was involved with the incident that happened on Sunday night.
Hey everyone, it's TJ here. Like Griff said, my condolences to everyone who was affected by that. Really sad to hear about the victims because they were both young, a 10-year-old girl and an 18-year-old girl. So, which was, obviously that's horrible that someone, like two families lost their kids to a violent incident, like Griff said. Danforth, especially in an area like that, which is very vibrant. It's known for its patio culture. It's a whole street it's basically Greektown, Toronto, and it's an entire street of just some of the best bars. It's just outside of downtown. Really great bars, really great restaurants. So it's a very vibrant, very nice area, very fun. So to have something like that happen, and it just always takes that one person, right, to just fuck it up for everyone else, and it's really never going to be the same now. No matter how long, decades from now, it's always going to be remembered. So, but yeah, condolences to everyone. Hashtag Toronto Strong, as always. So, coming off of that, we are actually also watching. We were watching Raw. It's still in the background. I'm sure you guys know what's been going on so far. This is the July 23rd edition, and they have some of the tweets up now on the... Yeah, so quickly I will just say, both Griff and I predicted that when they made the announcement for the pay-per-view for Evolution, somehow, some way, the Bellas were going to turn it into about them. Listen, I'm not a big fan of the Bellas, but I try to be objective. Here's what I'll give them. They are very good at marketing themselves. Yeah, a lot of it was to do with the machine pushing them, and of course they had the right boyfriends and now husbands. So, but at the same time, that was a pretty smart move, I guess, right? They knew that getting with John Cena and Daniel Bryan was going to get their foot in the door for many other things. And I kind of view them as, and I don't see how people would disagree with this, but they are basically the Kardashians of the WWE. So, and that's why I really can't stand them. And with the whole Divas title thing, of course, like that's the one thing that they definitely always go back to, saying, to try and defend the fact that, hey, we were part of this evolution, we were responsible for it because of Nikki's Divas title run, which really, I don't, maybe you can make a case for it, but I don't see how that really has anything to do with the evolution, because during her time as champion, there was really nothing that she did that was revolutionary. Just because you have a title, the longest reigning Divas title run, which really means nothing because that title only really had a 10-year lifespan. In the grand scheme of things, counting the old women's championship and everything else, that title really meant nothing. That record, 295 days. But during that run, she really did nothing. And Charlotte's reign after that, combining the Divas title and the women's title run that she had going on from WrestleMania 32, was actually a week longer than hers. And people can say whatever they want about Charlotte, but that's when it really started kicking off with the women's revolution. So, and it kind of also goes back to when the three of them, Charlotte, Becky, and Sasha, debuted on Raw. So, yeah, I knew they were gonna try and take credit for it, but it is what it is. The Bella Army is pretty obsessed with them. So, I don't have anything against people being obsessed with their favorite wrestlers. You can say I'm obsessed with some of my favorite wrestlers. So, but it is kind of ridiculous. Just be a little bit, just try to be objective, right? So, Griff, what do you have? What's your take on this?
I have the same opinion as you as the Bellas, where I give them full props for everything that the brand they've made for themselves, and even though they are annoying, the Bella Army, like how even though they're out of WWE, they still have this cult-like following. But at the same time, too, their fans are their fans can get very fucking annoying. And, but no, you know what? Good for them for making their own brand. I met them at Access. They're really nice girls. It's just when it comes to the wrestling stuff, like, you're not the best in the world, and we know that Nikki was handed a few things because of who she was technically, who was inside of her. But, it was made to break AJ Lee because AJ Lee had left the company on.
Well, apparently even John Cena kind of
pushed for it,
right? And I mean, I don't doubt that he would have, because I mean, you can't tell me the top guy in the company wouldn't have the influence. I'm not saying he did it for sure, but I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me if he did it, and if he did do it, it wouldn't surprise me that they listened to him, because again, if you're the top guy in the company for that many years, it's kind of naive to think that he wouldn't have that kind of pull.
But even so, though, like, yeah, like, that's whatever. Like, Nikki and Brie, like, we could do an entire podcast about the Bella Twins. But, no, I want to talk about Evolution because, honestly, like, I know at first with women's wrestling, like, at first, like, when it came on, yeah, it was a joke, it was a bathroom break. But you know what? I started watching NXT, and even though I'm not her biggest fan right now, that Bayley-Sasha match, I am not afraid to admit this, but that is the first ever match, because I know with me with WWE, I wasn't a fan until, like, I didn't start watching until, like, mid-05, 06, like, 2005, I didn't start fully watching until 2007, even though, like, 05, I started getting wins of it. But that Bayley-Sasha match from Brooklyn 1, like, I just get feels every time I think about it, because we were in the building at the Barclays Center for that match. I went into that show, I didn't really watch that much NXT at the time, but I knew about the women down there and that they were really good wrestlers. But just the chemistry, everything about that, like, I got chills, and watching it back, like, I felt like the emotions, like, got to me. Like, I don't care if that sounds lame or whatnot, but like, that match got me on women's wrestling. Now, like, girls, like, coming up, like, look at Alexa Bliss, look at Carmella making names for themselves, look at the women of the past, Trish, Lita, like, I could go on Mickie James, even though she's still there, Michelle McCool, like, all these women, and even going back, like, with God Rest Her Soul, Chyna, like, the fact, too, like, people can shit on this women's pay-per-view and say trolly things, like, oh, bring back bra and panties matches, or, oh, have a chore off, like, stuff like that, but, like, at the same time, too, these women bust their asses day in and day out. It's their dream to get to the WWE, just like if you're a male superstar. It's their dream to say, hey, we're here, too. And the fact that they're doing this is just, I honestly think it's incredible. Sure, it may be a way for them to be like, hey, you get your spotlight just because of the Saudi Arabia thing, because they weren't allowed to go because of the whole political I call political BS over there, because honestly it is. Like, it was and it is. But that's the Middle East for you. But anyway, too, though, Sunday, October 28th, live from the Nassau County Coliseum in Long Island, New York, is Evolution. I love the name, too. Why? Women's Evolution. Like, I think if they called it anything else, it would be a little stupid. So Evolution's the perfect name for it. It's not like too long. It's a good name. You don't have to call it, like, I don't know, all women's show. But also, too, I guess in October they're going to have two shows, because they're going to have the Australia show, and then they're going to have this women's show. But even the fact, too, people were talking about the whole women's, like, not women's thing, like, how they're bringing it up tonight. People are saying, like, oh, them keeping on talking about this is, like, it's ridiculous and whatever. But you got to let the men got to go out there and be proud of these women. Like, they're not just going to go out there and ignore it. Like, it's a huge accomplishment for the women. Like, and even so, I'm officially announcing today that I am considering going to this, because this is going to sound bad, but I'm just considering taking the year off from Mania just because. But I figure this could be a good substitute for WrestleMania. If you think that's a dumb thing, then I don't really care. But you know what? If money's right, I'm going to seriously consider going. Because I do have the... because also, too, the close proximity is what makes it... To be honest, like, say if this isn't, like, I don't know, if this was in Los Angeles or, like, Phoenix or anywhere, like, even hell, if it was in Orlando, like, say if they did Full Sail, I don't think I'd be going, just because New York's so close to me. Yeah. It makes it easier. Like, say if it was, like, New York or even Chicago, then, yeah, I more than likely would be inclined to go. But anyway, if I know I'm going for sure, because tickets go on sale Friday, August 24th, I will know for sure. But anyway, I just want to basically, I don't want to talk about the card right now because like you can take so many fantasy bookings, but pretty much I think you're gonna have, like they say, you're gonna have all 3 championships. You're gonna have the Mae Young finals. You're probably gonna have a bunch of women's matches. Just, you know what, ladies, even though it's 3 months away, I can't wait to see them go out there and kill it. Yeah. But I'm going back to TJ because we still have a lot to talk about. But in these first 10 minutes, we'll talk about Evolution a little bit more and just some other stuff and some other wrestling show we attended last night.
Yeah, one more thing a couple of things I want to say about Evolution too is, so the first criticism right away that I kind of expected, and it's sad that people still make this shitty argument, is that, oh, why do we need a all women's pay-per-view? We don't. It's not like if we get an all women's pay-per-view, we should also get an all men's pay-per-view. Well, first of all, dumbass, it's the same argument people make for, that saying, oh, why is there a gay pride parade when there's no straight pride parade? Okay, well, straight people usually
Straight pride would be very offensive. That's
that's
like white people saying, let's have a white pride parade. Like, no, you're just going to look really offensive.
Well, white pride, that the race of that we can get into another conversation, but because that's I would say a little bit, maybe a little bit different.
Is there a parade for people who think that the frogs are turning gay?
Okay, yeah. Fuck Alex Jones. But the thing is, when you make that stupid argument, the thing is you're leaving out historical facts, right? The reason there's no straight pride parade is because usually, I would say at least, I don't know 100% of the time, but straight people have not been discriminated against, right? Gay pride is there for a reason. Is because it's for gay people to celebrate. Hey, look, there's nothing wrong with being gay, because historically they've been discriminated against. So now I know it's not the same thing, but same thing with it's not the same thing with the women in WWE, because it's obviously they haven't been discriminated against in the same way, but it's the same idea. It's the fact that they haven't given as many opportunities as men. You could say maybe for the right reasons or for the wrong reasons, but historically they haven't been given as much of a platform as men, even when they deserved it, right? So that's why there's an all women's pay-per-view. It wouldn't make sense to do an all men's pay-per-view because, to the people saying that, if Triple H announced that it was going to be an all men's pay-per-view, don't you think that would be much more weird than saying all women's pay-per-view? Because, right, men have not been discriminated against in wrestling, right? So that's why there's an all women's pay-per-view, is because it's to emphasize that, hey, look, we are actually now taking women seriously. We have been, and now we're going to take it to the next level. And maybe I can sympathize with the people who say, okay, well, it's not weird that they're doing a women's pay-per-view. I can understand that, but maybe it was unneeded. Okay, I can understand if it was unnecessary, but I'm okay with it on basically all fronts, because also it's one of those things where it's kind of like just a bucket list thing too. Not to downplay the whole women's revolution, but you knew eventually WWE is gonna eventually do an all women's pay-per-view, whether it's this year, next year, or whenever. So they might as well get it done with. It was gonna happen, and this was the time to do it. It makes sense. And also one thing that I also kind of thought about, I'm like, wait, do they even have enough women for the pay-per-view? Because someone brought this up to me, but then I realized very quickly, actually, just a minute, really when you think about it, they have more than enough women. They have so many women from the Mae Young Classic. I know not all of them are signed, but they're obviously going to be signing a few of them. NXT itself, not just NXT UK, but NXT, the main brand, is going to has so many women. Raw and SmackDown has enough women too. When you think about it, they actually have enough to fit in at least 6-7 matches with the women on the pay-per-view. So, yeah. And another reason I'm looking forward to this is because they haven't announced it tonight, but there's still time because it's in October. They might still do the women's tag team titles. I don't know what people are saying on Twitter, because I know a lot of people were expecting the women's tag team titles to be announced along with the pay-per-view, but I can understand why WWE maybe left it off, because they don't want to give away too much on the same night. But I wouldn't mind if they are going to have women's tag team titles. Of course, it makes sense to have it on that pay-per-view. Have that be the main event. And as much as I thought that they could not salvage the Bayley and Sasha storyline, after how long it's been dragged on for and just basically made into a joke. This is the only way now. Now an opportunity has presented itself in the form of the women's tag team titles to actually salvage at least somewhat of the storyline between Sasha and Bayley. Have them be the first women's tag team champions, at least of the modern era, because I know they had the tag team titles before. So, yeah, I mean, that's my take on it. I'm looking forward to it. When is the Australia show again?
October the 6th. And also, too, I realized with this show, but Saturday, October 6th is, I believe it's...
Because I was wondering, I'm like, okay,
what's it called? Like, Super Showdown?
Super Showdown.
Yeah, Super Showdown. What?
You want to go for that?
Yeah, no, you thought Mania was expensive. But anyway, though, with the Evolution, I also realized, too, you can do this because the next pay-per-view after Evolution is Survivor Series, and you don't need that much build for Survivor Series because the matches are probably, if they do the matches the same as last year where you have WWE Champion versus Universal, Tag Team, U.S. Intercontinental, Women's Champion, and then the men's match and then the women's match. You can do that. So building this, I feel like, won't get in the way of Survivor Series build because they can still build upon it. And then the next night, celebrate the women's pay-per-view, and then just, boom, go away with... Not go away with it, but, like, you can kind of, like, have it happen, and then it won't get in the way of this build-up for the upcoming Survivor Series. I only say that more or less just because Survivor Series, as we do all know, is one of the bigger four. Not one of the bigger four, it is one of the big four of the year.
Yeah. The good thing about Survivor Series is that you don't have to... You can fall back on the interbrand matches, even if you don't have that many weeks to build up to it. So.
Exactly, and also the other thing I realized too is that I believe that if I do go to this, it will cross off another month of pay-per-views of like a month that I've attended. Actually, no, never mind. I've already been to a show. Oh no, a TV show in October. I've never been to one. I went to a house show, which was Anish Jain's first ever house show at the now named Coca-Cola Coliseum.
Raw October 3rd, Raw. We went to Buffalo.
That was November.
Okay.
That was November. So yeah, because I've been to TV in January, March. I don't remember think February. January, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, November, and December, but never October. So yeah, that would just do that for me. That was just a fun fact I wanted to post out. But anyway, though, I just want to also mention too, if you're gonna be mad at me for missing Mania and going to this instead, you know what? I actually want to go on a vacation next year where because Mania gets hectic. I want to go on a beach and get drunk next year. # click Cuba. # click Bahamas.
Maybe I'm going a little bit off the agreed script over here, but one thing I will say is because Griff kind of brings this up, and I'm just saying this as a person over here. I don't know why people care, really. I don't want to get into the drama stuff, but I will say one thing. I don't know why people care if you go to Mania or not. I don't care why. I don't see why people would make fun of you for missing Mania. I know you are saying that for good reasons though, because it does happen. And here's my thing, right? I mean, why do you people give a fuck what anyone's doing with their life? If they can't make it to Mania, they can't make it to Mania. If they can't make it to Royal Rumble, they can't make it to Royal Rumble. Like, I understand if you're a friend and you're kind of like disappointed that someone can't come to a show, but I see some of the tweets, I see some of the messages, and it's not that disappointed friend being disappointed. It's more like, hey, let's be a douche and make fun of someone for missing an event, and let's go out of our way to basically bully the person. And come on, like, guys, we're not in fucking high school anymore. Like, we're like in our mid-20s. I don't know who some of the guys probably saying all this bullshit to Griff might be like younger, but I feel like a lot of them are older too. So yeah, let's just grow up, let's stop making fun of each other for stupid stuff like that. But yeah, where was I? Actually, we just had Roman Reigns on the show. One question I was wondering was, have the Lorenzos said anything about going to the show?
I don't think Lorenzo's will be going. I can ask them right now.
Yeah, ask the Lorenzos, because I mean, I don't see why not, unless they're really busy or just they're prioritizing other things. But yeah, because it's in Long Island, right? That's another thing, actually, because it's
interrupting Elias this time.
Yeah, someone's interrupting.
It's whose thing is that?
Oh, it's Balor.
No.
Oh shit! It's Authors of Pain.
Take up your fat.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, I'll give it to the Authors of Pain. At least for now, they're one of the most legit acts on Raw right now. Actually, I will say I was a little bit nervous when after Mania, when they debuted and Paul Ellering was just kind of ditched to the side, because I right away thought, okay, without Paul Ellering, what they're gonna do is Vince McMahon is gonna, like he has to make everyone a sports entertainer. They're gonna have the authors of pain talk and do the whole, not comedy necessarily, but they're gonna try to have personalities and all that stuff. And these guys are not people who should be talking. And you know what? Until now, the WWE, at least until now, the WWE has done a good job. They haven't given them promos. They're just going out there kicking people's asses. Eventually, they're going to have to do promos. I understand that. But keep the promos short and simple. With Braun Strowman, they're giving him more personality now, which I understand. And eventually, you don't want him to have just a one-dimensional character. As long as they keep the comedy to minimal, to a minimal extent, and also just don't give him too many cheesy things. I know people were kind of critical about the WrestleMania thing. I was too, because I was there live, and I was like, seriously, because I was there live, I felt like I was more disappointed than I would have been if I was watching it on TV. But yeah, I was like, okay, seriously, they're just gonna have this kid become the champion with him? Like, they couldn't just find another wrestler? Like, this company, the biggest wrestling company in the world, couldn't just find another wrestler? And people were critical of that, saying, that he's turning into the big John Cena type, helping the little kids and stuff like that. But I can understand that point of view, but at the same time, I felt like it's all about how you do it, right? The devil is in the details. With Braun Strowman, okay, it was done once and it's done now. He's not continuing with this act, about, hey, I'm for the kids and stuff like that. If it's a one-time thing, it's fine. And the way he did it too was kind of him just still being a badass. It's like, hey, you little kid, come here. I'm picking you because I don't need another guy to beat these two. And he just beat him. He gave the little kid his moment and he left. He didn't overdo it like, for example, a John Cena does. And Roman Reigns obviously hasn't really done much of it, which I'm glad about. Even though he does do the charities like John Cena and stuff like that, but at least on TV, he's not really in your face about the whole, hey, I'm all for the kids, I'm all for the cancer cure, stuff like that on TV. At least on TV, Roman Reigns more or less is still booked like a badass. So, and also one thing we have to mention is last night, Slammiversary. We'll just quickly go over that. So Slammiversary was in Toronto, as many of you know, last night. I will say it was a great experience. It's an experience, and I'm not just putting it out there.
Rocking official Impact merch, baby.
Yeah, Griff is wearing his Slammiversary shirt. I'm not just saying it for the sake of saying it. I actually do mean it. It was a one of a kind experience, and this is why. Here's the thing, right? Because Impact, yeah, you can, say it's a dead brand and so on and so forth, but they do go further than WWE in terms of, the edgier sort of matches and characters, not characters, but the matches and at least the promos. They do have swearing, they do have blood, real blood, and they do chair shots to the head. They do also have some moves that you just wouldn't see on WWE too much. On WWE, when these guys they sign with WWE or they get called up from NXT, they stop doing a lot of the moves that were really popular in their indie days, right? That's what really put them on the map. And then you see their finishers change to something generic, some fucking variation of the DDT, which is overused as a finisher. And like, for example, Bobby Roode, when he was doing the pump handle slam on NXT, and people were saying that finisher sucks. I'm like, no, be careful what you wish for, because you're saying his finisher sucks, but they're going to change it to something probably even more generic or bland or something that everyone else has already done. And sure enough, they changed it to just another DDT variation, right? It's like, I would rather just have him keep the pump handle slam, because at least we don't really see that move that much, and it's really not that bad of a move. I don't know why people said it's a shitty finisher. I mean, what's really that different than it's really not that much different than, for example, a Uranagi, or it's really not that much it's not really less bland than a DDT. And now you have Almas doing a hammerlock DDT, so you know what I mean about the finishers. But with Slammiversary, yeah, it was basically, it's more no holds barred, and just the fact that we were all right in front. The wrestlers came so close to us on the barricades, quite a few times. At one point, even one of the LAX members was thrown over the barricade onto us, on our side, which was pretty cool. And just the crowd, you wouldn't get that type of crowd in a WWE show, and it was a good crowd. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't the annoying type of crowd. It was, and usually I don't care even if the crowd is annoying, but I like the crowd. It was pretty packed in there. Seemed like almost a full house, at least, if not a complete full house. And so it was definitely different than a WWE pay-per-view or a regular show. So I'm really glad we went. They killed it. They put on a killer pay-per-view. Only a couple things here and there that I mean, for example, Tommy Dreamer versus Eli Drake. That could have been, oh, sorry, Eli Drake. Eddie Edwards.
Chanting for him.
No, I said Eli Drake, but it's Eddie Edwards. Yeah, Eddie Edwards and Tommy Dreamer was, the finish came out of nowhere. I sort of understand it though, because Tommy Dreamer, I mean, I was just surprised that he's, when I found out during the build up to the pay per view that he's going to be wrestling, I was like, how's he still wrestling? So I can understand that he probably didn't have much in him to keep going longer, but it was a good match for what it was. I just wish we got this flaming table spot because they teased it, and that would have really completed the night if we saw a live flaming table spot, and
like 3 feet in front of us.
Yeah, like 3 feet in front of us. Like, and there was so much gasoline that he just poured all over the table, and it was all over the ring. So that, and then so that was a little bit disappointing. The ending of the match. The match was fine, but the ending of the match, and Su Yung versus Madison Rayne for the Knockouts Championship. Really, I think Ali versus Tessa should have been for the Knockouts Championship because that was a much better match. Definitely a really good women's match, but Madison Rayne versus Su Yung, it was just a decent match. It was very uneventful. Su Yung just won with ease. And yeah, that's basically what it is. I was expecting Su Yung to retain anyway. But apart from those two matches, everything else on the show was really great. I do think John Morrison should have won.
He did.
And he did. And Austin Aries, I know a lot of people wanted Moose to win, but it's not a really... Yeah, it may have been better for Moose to win and get his moment, because the crowd especially was really behind him, but Austin Aries winning is not the bad decision. There was no bad decision in this instance. That's basically the point here, is that it wasn't a good versus bad decision. It was two good decisions. Perhaps Moose was the more good decision, but at least, Austin Aries winning was still a good decision. They're trying to build him up. They're still building him up. He's the biggest star they have, so it makes sense. You want to talk about it a little bit, Griff?
I do, and I asked, and Lorenzo said 0 chance, and Matt called me insane if anyone were to travel for that show, they'd be insane. But you know what? Like I said, the fact that I may not be doing Mania 35 next year, and it's a quick flight, and it is a quick flight because it's only like an hour to get to New York City, which I'm going to do that later. Quick update. I mentioned this in the 716 video, which I've seen already today, but this may or may not be up beforehand, but I'm going to give my quick thoughts on Impact Slammiversary, which I'm repping their shirt right now. It's the same shirt I wore during the 716 day unboxing. But also, I'm going to give my quick thoughts here on Impact Slammiversary, and then also, too, I'm going to talk a little bit about Impact and the overall experience that I had at Rebel Entertainment last night. And also, too, I got a bunch of footage for you guys sitting in the front row, so I'll put that on as well, so hopefully you enjoy that. But also, too, they idiots, but that's whatever. Anyway, I did enjoy it last night. Why? Because I went into that show saying, you know what, I'm going to go in, I'm going to have fun, I'm going to have a blast. I'm with my buddies, we're sitting front row, we're going to have a good time. Like, that's like literally what I thought. Like, the card looked good too. There's only 2 matches, like TJ said. Eddie Edwards versus Tommy Dreamer. It was okay. It wasn't as like House of Hardcore as you thought it would be, especially to the fact that they teased the lighting of the table, and then Eddie didn't even go through another table, even the table with the gas on it. He literally only just did his finisher on the What did he do his finisher? He did his finisher right in front of the table, and then he pinned him. It was dumb. And then also
I think it
too.
was just like a kick. It was like some sort of running kick or something.
Yeah, it wasn't anything
I
special.
don't even remember it. Honestly, that's one part of the show I don't remember much because of how underwhelming it was.
Exactly, and like even so, like if I had to give my that and also the Knockout Women's Championship, it wasn't that it was a bad match. It was just really slow paced and it was quick. It was only I think 6 minutes and 50 seconds. Like I did look them up. The longest match of the night actually was the Sami Callihan Pentagon match at 18 minutes.
Moose and Aries was
15, and then the 5-1-5-0 match was 13.
Every match was above 10 minutes except for the women's championship match, and Brian Cage versus My Side was just short of 10 minutes.
Exactly, and that match too was I enjoyed don't get me wrong, I enjoyed all the matches. It's just sometimes you got to pick the bad ones out from the good ones. But though I do have to say though the best matches of the night were the 5-1-5-0 tag match. The LAX and the OGs, they went out there and they just killed it. Like TJ said, they were hitting each other in the head, putting each other through tables, using weapons, the ladders, like crashing into each other at ringside. I have footage of them like crashing into the barricade right in front of us. Even to like, all in all too, and even after them, and the thumbtack spot too, and then even afterwards they did it with Conan. Like just overall, it was just such a well done match. And even at the end of the match too, how the OGs they lost, but they did beat the shit out of LAX, spray painted the belts, and walked away with them. So it kind of continues their feud because Bound for Glory is happening in New York City, I believe, in October. I didn't catch the date last night. I just saw the New York City, very WWE-esque style promo. But last night, you know what last night proved? I have a hot take.
What?
Impact, I do have to say, I'm going to rate the companies in order. WWE, ROH, and then an Impact. I think Impact's the third best wrestling brand right now. But Impact too, I'm not saying I'm committing full time, but it made me that much more intrigued to be a fan of Impact last night. Just knowing that, hey, these guys go out there and perform. I don't go to that many of them. Indie shows are fun to go to, but the last night too, just the fact that it was televised and all that stuff, Impact was just perfect it was not Impact, like Impact, or even call it whatever you want, Slammiversary. Let's just say that. I'm going to stop saying Impact. I'm just going to say Slammiversary, fucking fantastic show. Yeah, or even TNA. But you know what? I'm not going to give it a rating. You know what? I had fun. It was a good show. I had a fun time. We all marked out. Even to another match I enjoyed was Tessa Blanchard versus Allie. My God, I didn't never seen an Allie match before. That girl can work. She's a really good wrestler. I know what to expect from Tessa. Tessa was very nice to me. I met her at WrestleCon. Allie, though, small thing, but damn, she can move. She did her finisher on the floor, literally right in front of us. It was amazing. And even too, just like Tessa played a heel character so perfectly last night. Like I was amazed at how well she did it. I was just proud of everything that happened last night. But even to the Fatal 4-Way, some crazy moves. Johnny Nitro, Johnny Morrison, Johnny Mundo, Johnny Impact, getting that W. Throwing out the first pitch of the Jays game. Speaking of the Jays, during the main event, I got over with Curtis Granderson because everyone's chanting for Aries and Moose. I was just like, Curtis Grant. I was like, Grant. No, I didn't say Curtis Granderson. I was like, Grandy Man, because his nickname's Grandy Man. And he just sticks his hand back and he's like, yeah, man. And then I was telling him basically good win today because they beat Baltimore. But then you want to know something funny?
What?
Anyone who has a ticket from yesterday's Jays game can present their Jays ticket at the box office and get a free ticket to the taping. Which I think kind of indicates that there's not a lot of people going to the tapings. Well, especially, I don't think it's going to be sold out like last night, solely because, too, like, those tapings, like, for the indie shows like that and ROH, they take so long. Like, they just take so long to do, like, and then it's, like, the same thing. It's, like, over and over again. Even, like, NX, like, even though Full Sail seems like a cool experience, like, I feel like after a while, you're like, I want to get out of here. Just because, too, though, with it's like, okay, you see the same people over and over again. They're in different outfits. And it's like, okay, we're starting a new taping. We got to get, act like it's the opener. Like, I just like doing it the one time you do it. It's like now, NXT, and it's like, woo. And then it's like every 45 minutes you got to go, like, yeah, NXT. Like, I just feel like that would just get too repetitive and you get kind of bored with it. But, oh, what's it called? Just looking at here. Oh, your photo. Oh, wait, no, the photo got over on Twitter of the Cena and the Jimmy Fallon drag. Yeah, but I'm sorry, I said this in a quick text message, but anyway, SummerSlam on Cricket Wireless. I'll always put Cricket Wireless over, but no, all in all though, Slammiversary, man, I had a fun ass time. Rebel was the perfect venue for it. Then after, I'm going to let TJ give some thoughts on it quickly, and then after that, him and I are going to touch up on a little trip him and I and Slakester, who's MIA at the moment, took last week.
Right, Buffalo.
Breeze, 2 weeks in a row, dark entrances.
Yeah, so it's funny. I mentioned with Authors of Pain not having a promo, and right after I mentioned that, they cut their first promo on Raw.
And we had the same match on Raw tonight as we did last week with Mojo taking on Tyler Breeze.
So it's just hilarious how they cut a promo right after I said that they haven't cut a promo. But, I mean, even though our volume's obviously not on, hopefully that promo was fine and they don't sound really weird. Even if they do, I mean, as long as they sound badass, that's fine with me. I don't know if you guys heard Griff in the background. You probably heard it. But, yeah, Mojo Rawley versus Tyler Breeze in another repeat match where Tyler Breeze is just going to get his ass kicked. Maybe not. Maybe Mojo will lose. I mean, I'm going for Tyler Breeze, of course, because Mojo's just... He's nice. I met him in New Orleans. He took a picture with me, even though he didn't exactly seem that thrilled. But he took the picture nonetheless. But
he's a cool guy to meet. But also, I want to cut you off for a second.
No,
you know what Roman Reigns said during his promo tonight?
I don't care what Roman said.
No, I was going to tell you. I am the most decorated superstar of this generation. And at SummerSlam, I'm taking the Universal title.
My God. I mean, when does the generation start? Like, when is he talking about just 2014 onwards? Or
apparently.
Yeah, I mean... Again, I don't have anything against Reigns. It's just I don't care about the Reigns and Bobby Lashley match. So I wouldn't care what Bobby Lashley has to say either. But yeah, Mojo is cool. What's cool to meet. I'd rather see Tyler Breeze, if they are going to give anyone an opportunity, rather see Tyler Breeze get the opportunity. And look what's going on right now. Oh my God, there's Bobby Roode.
They're setting up Bobby Roode versus Mojo probably.
This is like. I mean, at least Bobby Roode has something to do. I know, again, I go back to the obvious fact that not everyone can get pushed at the same time. This is why I tell people, I'm like, be careful what you wish for. You want all these guys to get signed by WWE. If you think, for example, 10 wrestlers from anywhere outside of WWE, whether it be from New Japan, ROH, TNA, just pick the 10 best wrestlers outside of the WWE, that, in your opinion, if you want all 10 of them to get signed at the WWE, and they do get signed and they all go at the same time, more or less, maybe a year after another, you can't expect all of them to be doing good all the time, because again, there's only so many spots, and it's already happened. Like, it's not even a hypothetical anymore. I mean, WWE already is in a position and has been for the last few years where they actually have basically, I mean, most of the top 10 wrestlers that people would name outside of WWE, they already have them in WWE. Whether you want to talk about AJ Styles, Bobby Roode, even if you want to throw Eric Young in there, so many of the TNA guys, so many of the ROH guys in NXT, and with them also always having, feeling the need to call them up every year, at least some of them. You're not gonna always.
I don't know what happened there, folks. We're having some... Okay, so it's official. Yeah, TJ broke the mic stand.
Is it still working?
Yeah, it's still working. Our mics are fine. See, because you broke... the stand broke. So now we gotta hold it up. Okay, they're back with the bolded promos, and the selfie promos are back.
Alright, I'll just quickly finish that.
But, yeah, no, so just sorry for that technical difficulties, folks. I'll get everything fixed up. I'm the road crew on this. But because our producer is off right now exploring the Cayman Islands. But anyway, guys, back to TJ.
Conrad Simpson. Yeah, so that's kind of hilarious, actually. I just broke the mic.
The stand. You broke the stand.
I broke
the actual mic.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean.
If it's a microphone, we wouldn't be recording.
Yeah.
So.
That's why when I broke it, I'm like, wait, did I break the stand? Did I break the microphone? Then I saw Griff speaking, and it's still working. Even when I was speaking, it was still working. I'm like, okay, thank goodness. Yeah. So, I mean, I've basically, just to wrap up on that point. Yeah, just be careful what you wish for. You don't want all 10 of the guys that you want eventually in WWE to be signed by WWE, because only so many of them can be pushed at the same time. So in this case, I can't blame WWE. If they're signing so many guys, they can't push all of them. Some are going to have a mid-card role, and some of them eventually, inevitably, they're going to have a lower card role, which is what Bobby Roode basically has right now. So, I mean, yeah, pretty sad to see he's cutting a promo during a Mojo Rawley and Tyler Breeze match. Putting that aside, last week we did go to Buffalo, as Griff kind of alluded to it. It was good. I mean, Buffalo is always fun to visit. We go basically once a year at least, if not twice a year. Sometimes you go for a hockey game. Sometimes we might go for just a random whatever.
Day to go shopping.
Yeah, day to go shopping or something like that. But Buffalo's always fun. We met a couple cool people. I think one of their names was Michael. But they were basically friends with Brandon Hova. I don't know if that's his real name, but
shout out, yes, Brandon Hova is his real name. Do
Yeah.
not get it twisted, folks. Brandon Hova.
well, I figured it. Brandon,
716 royalty.
yeah, I figured Brandon is his first name for sure, but I didn't know if Hova's a real name. But yeah, Brandon Hova on Twitter, as he goes by. He was there with a couple of his buddies, and we talked to some of his friends, and they're really cool guys. The Buffalo locals are always very friendly and very fun to interact with. So we started off by this was the longest I believe we've ever spent a day in Buffalo, because on the day when we have Raw or whatever, we leave usually in the afternoon after we're done work, so we don't get there until like maybe 2 hours at best before the show, and then we spend the next 2 hours. We just go straight to 716 or whichever restaurant we want to. We eat, we have a few drinks, whatever, and then we go to the show. But this time we left at like 9 o'clock in the morning. Me and Hassan and I slept over at Griff's from the night before because we were out the night before.
Extreme Rules.
Yeah, Extreme Rules. And so we watched it over at Griff's, and then we just spent the night here. So, yeah, we left at 9 o'clock. We got there like...
we left here at like 8:30.
Yeah, even before that, like 8:35 apparently. So it was I know it was like 9 o'clock or 8:30, something like that. So we got there like before 10 or like just around 10, and then so we get there and we go pretty much right to the Cricket Wireless show. I mean the store downtown, which is right across from City Hall, and that's where we met up with Brandon, his friends, and we basically stood in line. It wasn't too bad, and I really liked the hospitality of it all. It makes sense because Cricket Wireless is a sponsor of WWE, so they made sure that we were, basically well taken care of. They had free pizza, they had this. What is that? What did they have? I'm blanking out now.
Here's where I'll take over. First of all, before we get more into the Cricket Wireless hospitality and put them over, quick shout outs to on Twitter at MJGIV79, Good Brother Mike, and also Crappy Collects. Both shout outs to those guys. Those guys are really cool to meet in line. Crappy Collects is on YouTube. Let me just get his YouTube handle. I'm going on his Twitter profile right now. About to get it from a second. Crappy Collects. Figure Life Guy too. Both of them. Crappy Collects on YouTube as well. Get that guy more subscribers and all that stuff because he was a good guy to meet. He was a cool guy to be with. But yeah, like I said, get him more subs. Get him more what you want. Get him more. He doesn't have that many subs right now, but you know what? Get the guy up to more because everyone but Phil deserves more subscribers. But anyway, back to the whole Cricket Wireless thing. I'm going to put them over because you know why. And also, too, we met two guys in line. I believe one of them was named Greg, who has a pretty cool job of he holds the Buffalo Bills flag in the end zone and he like waves it around like during games and stuff. So I found that was pretty cool, even though I'm a Pats fan. But no, basically we get to Cricket Wireless and Elias is back up for Raw. Oh, excuse me again. I was drinking a Diet Coke during the show. But here's the thing. Cricket Wireless, I cannot put them over enough, man. Like, we're in line. The guy comes by with a big carton of chips. Like, you could select what you want. And we're like, great, they're going to get our hands all dirty. So we had to find ways to, like, dry them off. And who's interrupting Elias but Finn Balor? Everyone's interrupting Elias tonight. This is hilarious.
I told you it's going to be a running joke.
It's kind of funny, though. I'm not going to lie. But anyway, though, whatchamacallit? Yeah, and then also they brought by some Poland Springs water. Poland Springs got brought by, and then they had pizza. I forgot the pizza company. I think it was like an Abbey Road Pizza, it may have been called. But they it was good pizza. It was free, and also too, like I showed in the video in my live stream last week, and you hear it. They had a wheel to spin with prizes and stuff, and I got a phone it's basically a phone kickstand. TJ got a sweatband, I believe, and Hassan got a fidget spinner. Shout out to Britton Harrison on that one.
That's what I was trying to remember.
Yeah. And then we go inside, and then the experience was really well done. You get up there, you had enough time to talk to Alexa, you get your picture taken, then she signs your item for you. It reminded me very much, and you'll probably agree with this too, of like the WWE VIP experience at WrestleMania Access, where you get like the same amount of time to talk to them, that you get the professional photo taken with the Cricket Wireless banner. They email you the photo and all that stuff. But no, all in all, if you live in the States or if you're going to a WWE show in the United States, go to a Cricket Wireless meet and greet because they honestly take care of you. They like want the WWE universe to be like, you don't feel like, oh my god, it's taking forever to go inside. You know what? They took damn good care of us. I was happy for that. I was really like glad and thankful for them. So Cricket Wireless, thank you very much. TJ, do you have any other thoughts about Cricket Wireless?
Not really. I mean, that's basically it. I mean, it was really cool what they did, and also, yeah, Dolph Ziggler is coming out right now on Raw with Drew McIntyre. Just a prediction over here. Drew McIntyre this is probably going to end with the DQ. Drew McIntyre versus Finn Balor, and then that's going to set up a pay-per-view match between them, where it's hard to tell. I don't know. Maybe Drew McIntyre will win. Maybe Finn Balor. At this point, I think, though, most people probably want McIntyre to win just because of how Finn Balor's just been made to be... Basically, like I said on the last podcast, he's been made to look like a geek. A complete geek. Like when we were talking about the segment from earlier where Baron Corbin kind of introduced his own locker room, Finn Balor's own locker room with the little fun house. That was actually well done. That was something different. Something out of the box, some nice humor that they're throwing into Raw for a change. So at least there was some creative juices flowing tonight. I can or whenever the show was written, I can tell. I know sometimes they write the show just a day off.
Orange ref this match.
So the referee is very tanned, but. Yeah, it was a good segment, but I just thought, they could have at least gone a little bit further with it too and had, one of those like Austin type moments where Finn is just kind of like laughing along with Baron Corbin, but then he's like, oh yeah, and then he just punches him in the face, and then he just basically takes him out for making that joke. So, Finn is just lacking that edge. He's basically the white Apollo Crews. He's just coming out there smiling all the time.
Say that you don't want to piss off Balor Club.
No, I like Finn Balor. I love Finn Balor. So, I mean, I'm part of Balor Club. So, at the same time, again, it's not about being a fanboy. It's about being objective. You can like someone, but also realize why some people may not agree with certain booking decisions and so on. And as a fan, I want the best for the wrestlers I like. So, being a real fan is, hey, look, there's something wrong here. I know this can be done better. You don't want to be one of those fanboys that accepts anything. For example, with I don't want to single out a wrestler or any of their fan bases, but you know what I mean. There are fanboys out there who, yeah, I posted a meme on group chat that's kind of offensive.
We're gonna discuss
yeah,
it.
we're not gonna. I was gonna say I'm not gonna repeat it on here. If you're in that group chat, you'll know what you'll know what I'm talking about. But actually, there was a sign that during a promo on Raw that I saw. I think it was from last week. I think it was from the Buffalo Raw. There was a sign in the front row saying, "Black refs lives matter." Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was in the front row, so we couldn't really see the front row on our side. It was the front row on our side, so we couldn't see the sign because we were far away from it. But yeah. That was, by the way, is Big Time Breaks at Raw tonight? I'm just wondering.
Pardon me?
Is Big Time Breaks at Raw tonight?
Yep, I messaged him on Snapchat. BTB is at Raw, but unfortunately he is not vlogging, so shed a tear for that.
Yeah.
BTB, man, I would have loved to see a vlog just to hear that. Oh, that voice. That voice.
You should have vlogged for Griff, man. Sorry,
Let me hear that voice, I get tickled pink.
Shit, I'm blanking out on his name now. No, just tell me.
Logan.
Logan, yeah. See, the thing
Call
is,
him BTB. Do not call him Logan.
see, yeah, that's the thing though, because in New Orleans, I was calling him Logan, and everyone was like, "No, just call him BTB." Now I started calling him BTB, and I forgot his real name.
Yeah.
So
see, exactly. It's like certain people out
Is
here.
his-
You
is-
always call them by like.
yeah, his last name's not Paul, right? Logan Paul.
No, it's not. I think I don't want to. I'm not going to expose him. out
No,
here.
I'm just kidding. It's if you know what I'm referring to.
I do know his last. I know who you're referring to though, but I do know his last name.
Yeah, I'm not. Don't say it. We don't want to dox people.
YouTube, what's good? BTB, Big Sound Breaks Back.
Although I will say a throwback to the first episode when Jake was reviewing our first podcast. He's like,
Yeah, how's that review coming up? We haven't seen one in a while, and we're 5 episodes deep, so you got some catching up to do.
well, I mean, now we're kind of like just talking pure wrestling, and Jake is not gonna listen to a pure wrestling content.
Oh no, he won't.
But the first podcast we kind of talked about some other stuff too, right? And if you guys haven't heard that review video of the first podcast from a guy, really close friend of ours, Jake Anthony Wilson. I'm gonna dox him very good on this, very good on here.
He lives on
So-
Roehampton Drive in Toronto.
Okay, that's a little bit too far. Jake Anthony Wilson does not. Okay, hopefully no one heard that. But so yeah, he made his channel name is Some Dick with a Mic, and which really suits him because he is a dick and he does have a mic. So and that's another thing. Some Dick with a Mic also makes sense because he's not the dick. You know, he's not just.
He's a dick. He's not the dick.
Yeah, it's not like Roman Reigns where he's the guy. He's not the dick. He's just some random dick, you know, irrelevant dick. And so even though we're bringing up, he's relevant enough to bring up on here. And on his review video, it was freaking hilarious. Even though he was making fun of us, I was laughing for the first 5 minutes because he kind of called out Griff. He's like, "Wait, Griff, you just mentioned how you had your last name Bordegon on your YouTube channel, and so you changed it because you didn't want people knowing your last name, but you just said your last name." And then he also pointed out how Griff went on to dox other people, which I don't think Griff was doxing other people, but anyways, his job is just to be a dick with the mic, so that's what he was doing. So it sounds like Griff has some thoughts on Jake. You should actually make I'll give you this mic if you rant on Jake. How about that? Okay, he accepted. So now he has to.
I exposed your address, so you didn't have enough. So you didn't have it. So yeah, it's enough shooting.
What
But
happened in Toronto last night? Do you want to be doing that?
no, not really. I don't want to be giving away his address. Any more information? Jesus, this thing is like fully just dunzo. The base for the mic. I'm gonna have to hockey tape. I'm gonna have to. Shout out to Matt Lorenzo. I'm gonna have to MacGyver the mic. The mic stand going forward.
We're eventually gonna get upgraded mics.
Yeah, we're gonna upgrade, but for now we're on these small ones. They cost $25 on Amazon. I gotta get this fixed. Oh man, we're having technical difficulties, folks. It's all over the place today. It's insane. It's crazy. Oh my god. Yeah, because what I could do is just mount that on there. Yeah, I'm gonna be able to do that. Or I'll even fucking I may even super glue. Who the fuck knows? I'll do something. But anyway, though, no, Jake, you have enough to catch up on with us. You know what? You can live your life, work your job, live on your own. But you know what, man? You'll never be as good as TJ and I on that mic. Besides, you didn't even review our whole podcast. The podcast was an hour. You were on for like half an hour.
Didn't he just like put it on?
You put it on fast forward mode, yeah. But too, though, with the whole Mainmark Bordegon thing, because at first I'm like, I don't know what else to call it. And you know what? And then I started doing that. But then the reason why I was dodging people on Facebook was just because with Facebook, I only like to add people who like I know and who I've met in person. Yeah. I don't like just to add random people on Facebook. Just because, what's it called? Like because Facebook's the one social media where it's like a lot of personal stuff is on there too.
It's not like Twitter or Instagram.
No, exactly. Like Instagram, even though like I post like, because the thing is with Instagram too that I don't like is that some like I guess people, because my girlfriend's account is private on Instagram, but I guess people from the wrestling community have tried following her, and she'll be like, "Hey, do you know who this person is?" And I'm like, "No," and then she will ignore them. I'm not afraid to admit that, but yeah. So pretty much, yeah. I'm not giving away her name. Her name, I will not mention any of her social media on here because she is for me and me only. Who's coming out? Wait. Oh, scared me. I thought it was Dean for a second.
So there you go.
Scared.
Team match for SummerSlam.
You know what I could see them also do? You know what I could see happening tonight though?
What?
Dean costs Roman. I just before you give it, I just wanted to throw it out there. Dean costs Roman, then you can do Lashley versus Lesnar, because I think that was a rumor for a while back, and then the Lesnar Reigns rumor started a little while ago. I do think Reigns is going to win tonight, but man, just imagine that if you have Dean cost Roman the match tonight, and then the two of them feud, that'd be awesome.
So as for Dean, I mean, it's one of those things where you can predict Dean's return so many times in so many different ways. And it's just one of those things where I'm just going to be like, my mindset is just, I'm going to believe it when I see it, right? Especially with...
Never mind.
Wow, what bullshit. You know you need one of these every week on Raw, where a match just gets started as a rematch, as a tag team match. You know, it gets restarted. I'm sure Aaron Rift will be loving it. He's not a big fan of those. Let's restart the match, a singles match as a tag team match. And you know what? He's not the only one, because I mean it's so overdone. But when Griff was talking, I don't know if you guys heard me, but because we're basically working this with my mic, unfortunately. What I was saying was, because the whole thing was on mute, when Rollins came out to help Balor, I was like, oh, look, there you go. You're going to have your SummerSlam match for these four. You're going to have a tag team match at SummerSlam. Which, I mean, it is what it is. I don't mind it, because I don't see what else Seth Rollins could be doing if he's not going for the Universal Championship. And, as for Dean, I'll see it when I believe it. If they are still going to go with Bobby Lashley facing Brock, if that is what is confirmed, then I can definitely see something like a shenanigans, something like Dean Ambrose coming back and costing Roman the match, because I just don't see WWE. I don't have faith in WWE that they would give Bobby Lashley 2 clean wins over Roman, at least not without Roman beating him first. So if Bobby Lashley does get another second win over Roman without Roman beating him first, then it's going to be a screwy finish. So, I mean, it would be cool. It would be this Raw, from what I see so far, has already been better than Buffalo, at least.
No, I think this show's been... I think it's only better just in the sense because there wasn't an announcement. Apart from this, the show's been pretty similar, because we've already seen two, like the Mojo Breeze thing, and then the AOP, what's it called, primetime players? Or no, Titus Worldwide.
Yeah,
like
I kind of...
two angles the same from last week. Like, I know it's WWE and you got to repeat stuff, but you know what? Jobber angles like that, they don't need to repeat, so it's kind of pointless to do. But at the same time as well, okay. But, I'll let TJ get back to it, but at the same time as well, like, yeah, the Jobber stuff can just, like, kind of quiet down. But you know what? You had the Braun Jinder thing, which is kind of funny. But, like, they got a bunch of filler stuff to do for, like, the next half an hour or so, and then you have Reigns versus Lashley, so let's see what happens there. But I'll give it back to TJ.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to kind of say, I mean, whatever the wrestling stuff, we can just get back to it later. But one interesting thing that I kind of wanted to talk about, this podcast basically, because the last few episodes, except for the first one, where we kind of did talk about some stuff outside of wrestling, but the basically, since the first one until now, we basically talked about wrestling.
And the Tavares episode with Andrew DeLuca and I.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, that one I forgot about because I wasn't in the sports episode, but yeah. There's a Rock Network promo, but yeah, basically this is my first time to really kind of talk outside of wrestling ever since the first episode. So it's kind of a refreshing thing to do, but that's why I wanted to talk about what kind of Griff talked about, which is with the whole Facebook and social media and stuff like that. Yeah, the thing is, I mean, with social media, I mean, we all go through stages, I guess, as kids, where it's like it's a whole big thing. You just add everyone type of thing. You follow everyone. But as you get older, I mean, just have some discretion, right? Like, coming off of New Orleans, I'm not just... I don't do this on... I'm not saying this in a way that I'm better than people or anything like that. I'm just saying I don't go meet everyone in New Orleans and then say, okay, let me just go now get their Twitter, get their Instagram, get their Facebook. You don't have to do that with everyone. Of course, like, for example, like, I have Lorenzo's on everything because, again, we've been on multiple trips together. I know them enough to know to be able to do that, right? If you like, be careful of how fast you jump the gun, right? Like, especially with Facebook. Yeah, it is a lot different with Facebook because it's a lot more personal. You have your work posted on there. A lot of people do, at least. You have
friends on Facebook who are coworkers.
Yeah, you have friends on Facebook who are coworkers. It's just a lot, and Facebook is basically the number one social platform that workplaces and other important areas of your life, they will be looking at your Facebook more than anything else. So it's understand that when you add people on Facebook, even if you met them and stuff like that, that if they decline you or something like that, if they're hesitant to add you, don't get offended and just have the courtesy that, hey, look, maybe I should at least be semi friends with this person before I just go on adding them on everything, And I mean sometimes I won't take it that seriously. Like with like I personally don't like if you add me and I don't really know you that well. I mean, it depends. I'm not just gonna add anyone that I don't know. But with certain people who I only know to a certain extent, I'll do like a little survey, right? I'll look at your profile. I'll see, hey, this person seems to know these many people. Okay, he seems like a pretty okay guy. I mean, I really don't know ever for sure, but I have a bit of a radar in my head, and I'm like, okay, you know what? If I don't see anything too fishy, I will add you. Like, for example, the last guy I added on Facebook randomly, I don't think I've ever met him because he's from Australia, but Connor McDonald or something like that. I know, yeah, that's his name, Connor McDonald. And if you're listening, Connor, I mean, maybe I'll. I'm hoping you're going to that Super Showdown show in Melbourne because I see that you are from Melbourne, so you're. Hopefully you are going and you're gonna have a lot of fun there. But yeah, just and especially with the girlfriends, like that's so stupid. Like, why would you go around adding people's girlfriends who you haven't met? Like, just hey, look, I'm wrestling friends with your boyfriend, so let me follow you on Instagram. Like, that's such a thing that's a thing that you can completely see coming, but it's just sad at the same time that happens. But yeah, Griff, what do you have to say about that?
Like I said, for example, like everyone knows here, like, and even too, like some people were taking the whole thing with like me and my girlfriend, but you know what? If like it's even like too, like I know like some people like Ravi, for example, like he's big enough where he has his own like a fan Facebook page, so I guess random marks can add him. But random marks of his have like I guess I've been tagged in photos with him, so they'll start adding me, and I'm like, yo, I've never met this person before, and like I'll check to see who they're friends with, and then I see who they're friends with, and I'm just like, no, fam, I'm not adding you because like for example, yeah, I got family, I've got friends, I've got like my girlfriend obviously, and other people. Like there's only like on Facebook, so yeah, I don't add them there. But then on another note, like what you were saying, the Lorenzos, I'm so close to them too. Like where like I have them on every platform of social media, and we have our phone numbers. Like we have like they have, even though we're from different countries. Yes, I like all like once you get comfortable with people, like yeah, you get to know their phone numbers, you get to know them on a personal level. But like for example, too, there was a few people I met in New Orleans. Actually, I'm not gonna mention her name, but I'm gonna mention who it is. Ryan Martin. I'm just gonna say wrestling Mortarano. Ryan Mortarano. Hopefully, hope to God that's right. Ryan, if I forgot it wrong, I'm so sorry.
That's how I know I'm the real Italian here. I can say the last name better.
Ha 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 ha. But anyway, his girlfriend, Allie. I didn't even like want to be like, because I figure it's 2018. Most people have an Instagram, but I'm like, you know what? I don't want to be like, what's your Instagram? I just wanted to, and I was just like, hey, do you have Instagram? That'd get me in a lot of trouble. That was an inside joke that I'm not repeating, and that could get me in hot water. But anyway, though, no, so I just asked her, like, hey, do you have an Instagram? And she was like, yeah, add me. Like, I feel like the fact, too, it's not like, if you just, like, if I, like, for example,
she was there as a fan. Like, she was there as a fan, and I remember her, too. She was there as a fan. She was part of the group, right? So it's different. Like, it's not like Griff's girlfriend, who was not even there, and she's just in some of his pictures, you see her, and you decide, hey, let me just go and follow her. If Ali, she's a fan, right? So it's a different thing.
Like, and also hot take too, like if you do that and she does tell me who you are, I don't care. I will block you because that's invading my privacy, and I just find that really disrespectful, to be honest. I don't care if it sounds like a dick move. Just like know that if you go to follow her, I will, and I find you out, I will block your Instagram account. Like, I'm not afraid to do that. I know it sounds a little, like, dickish or whatever, but at the same time, too, you're invading my privacy. Like, that's my private personal life. Like, my girlfriend, she's in the she, like, knows my WWE fandom. She's been to a Monday Night Raw with me, but at the same time, too, she's gone to the point now where she knows, look, boyfriends and girlfriends all have different hobbies. They all like different things, but she knows that WWE is kind of like my thing. And she kind of like, you know what? I'm going to let him do his thing. Like, for example, like she loves to watch Grey's Anatomy, but like she knows to like, we know to like, I'm not the biggest Grey's Anatomy. Like, I'm not really a fan, but I've watched a couple episodes with her. But it's one of those things. Hey, she likes to watch it with her. Like, she likes to watch maybe with her and her friends, or like how I watch wrestling with like you, Justin, Ravi, Hassan, Anish, stuff like that. Even though I can't remember the last time I watched a show with Anish was. But anyway, back to Tushar.
No, I just wanted to say, for the record, when I get my next girlfriend, if ever, I don't know, I might just be single for the rest of my life. Not because I'm gay though. Don't get that twisted. But it's just because I'm a smart man. Haha. Okay. But just for the record, when I get my girlfriend, by the way, you guys can all follow her, whatever you want, because she's gonna be a 10 out of 10. So go ahead. I mean, you know, I'll show her off. Whether she has a private account, whatever, it doesn't matter. Follow her, and you can all basically be jealous. How about that?
Mine's not a jealousy thing too. Mine's just like a whole like. Do you get where I'm coming from though?
No. That was just a joke. I'm not saying that. That has nothing to do in relation to Jessica. Like, I completely understand. Like, you know, but you have to take into account personalities, right? Like, people are different. I mean, it's not just girls or. I'm not saying, you know, generally girlfriends or in general boyfriends. I'm just saying, like, people are different too. Like, if you can tell someone's open and they're really talking to you, they're actually interested in talking to you, it's one thing to say, hey, you know, what's your Instagram? But like, for example, and I'm just saying this, Griff would probably agree. Like, Jess is I'm not saying like reserved, but she's more, I guess, a little bit reserved. Like, she's not she's not the type who's just gonna like kind of like, hey, let's be friends after like a couple days and let's have everything, let's share social media with each other after 2 days, right? So that's the thing. It's just people are different. So just be able to read people, right? And if you can't read people, then just default on, hey, I'm not gonna say anything, right? Because if you can't figure people out, the best thing to do is to just default and fall back on, hey, I'm not gonna say anything, rather than take a risk. So.
You nailed that one on the head perfectly. Like, that's exactly how it that's exactly how she is. Like, say for example, there's some nights where we even talked about this the other day where she's like, because sometimes I don't like to be like by myself all the time. She'll like a night in at home and just do whatever she wants. She doesn't really care about that. And of course, Seth Rollins and Finn Balor get the win. But anyway, guys, I think that's like I don't really feel like talking about this stuff anymore. But you know what? Anyway, WWE Evolution, can't wait for it, regardless of at the show or not. Slammiversary was fun. We're on the road to SummerSlam. We'll probably do our next podcast hopefully sometime next week, so we can kind of get a grip on more Slammiversary, more SummerSlam related content, because we are 4 weeks away from SummerSlam now, but this time next week will be about 2.5 weeks away from SummerSlam. But anyway, guys, I think you want to kind of like put this one to sleep.
When do you want to do the next podcast, by the way?
Well, it's Monday, July 23rd right now. We should be this one will be uploaded probably tomorrow or it'll be up by this one will be up by Thursday, just because Wednesday night I am out. I'm actually going to the Toronto FC game with my girlfriend. But look for the Instagram photo, by the way. You can like my Instagram photos.
Cheap plug.
Yeah, cheap plug. Just saying. But no. This one will be up by Thursday. The Impact highlight show will be up hopefully by tomorrow night. It depends on how long they take to get put together. But the Impact, I think I'm gonna get the highlight show up. I'm gonna try to get the podcast up first, and then the highlights show up by Thursday night. That's my honest to God goal. But I think next week, if we're both free, let's say Wednesday or Thursday next week, I feel like that'd be the best day to record. But we'll work out a schedule, guys. We're gonna try to get at least 2 more podcasts in before SummerSlam. Big NFL preview show we are going to be recording at the end of August. Those one will have multiple special guests. We're going to try to do maybe 2 to 4 guests, and then we also have that one is going to be my friend. I have my buddy Matt, my buddy Matt Fonseca, my buddy Andrew DeLuca. Potentially our producer Conrad will be coming in and talking on that one. Depends if he's free, and myself. That'll be a 4-person podcast. That one will be a lot of fun. And then also to the NHL season preview podcast, which will be coming up close to the start of the NHL season, do have confirmed guest, New Jersey's own Ryan Falcone will be joining us for the NHL season preview show coming up in late September, early October. That one will be up before October 3rd. That will be Andrew DeLuca, myself, and Mr. Ryan Falcone, otherwise known on YouTube as T Extreme 07. But also, Ryan will be back in not one of the other podcasts before summer. So we're going to be having a special fantasy football preview with two people who know how to play fantasy football. That is, even though him and I have that feud going on right now, we're going to break it for this time because Nightmare 10, once again, and Ryan Falcone and I are going to be building you the best fantasy football team to win you some cash this fall, folks. But here's TJ.
Just a question. So you're gonna do a podcast with Andrew and Ryan Falcone, but where's Ryan Falcone gonna be? Is he coming?
He'll be live via satellite.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. So
yeah, he'll probably. I'm probably gonna have him doing a WhatsApp phone call, or even get him on Skype and then just have it through. I'm probably gonna have. I don't know yet. I still got to work with the technical aspects of it, but. Yes, Ryan and Phil will not be next to me in person. They will be live via satellite or live via Skype or live via WhatsApp video chat. But anyway, we will get them. We'll get them live. Just wanted to hype those podcasts up because those are the special non-wrestling ones. Fantasy football. Basically, we're going to help you pick the perfect team to win. We're going to basically just break down a few players per positions. NFL season preview is going to be preview the NFL season, what we think is going to happen. And then same thing with the NHL. NBA is the one sport we're going to consider doing. That one probably not till October, though. But, yeah, just wanted to hype those podcasts up. But the next two podcasts, so basically we're going to have the Road to SummerSlam show, the Road to NXT Brooklyn 4 show in that, too. That's one thing. So that's why I would like to record on a Wednesday or a Thursday, just because we can get NXT out of the way. Not out of the way, but we can incorporate it. And then we're going to have our huge SummerSlam NXT TakeOver podcast. That will be up by Saturday, August 18th. It will not be up later than that because that night, unfortunately, we do have a bachelor party to go to, TJ and I. But you know what? Sometimes commitments get in the way of wrestling.
Okay. Well, hopefully Matt doesn't listen to this podcast.
No, that wasn't meant to be a bad thing. That was just more or less meant to be a, hey, you know what? Sometimes you have to miss a show because stuff gets in the way.
No, I'm just saying, Matt. Hopefully, Matt doesn't listen to this podcast because. Okay, but we won't say anything. Let's just drop it right now. But yeah. So, anyways, I just wanted to say. Well, yeah, I was wondering about Ryan because.
Actually, you know what? Never mind.
It's okay. He won't be listening to this.
He's not going to listen to this, and also too. We were going to stop it, go back and re-record, but you know what? Fuck it, we're leaving it in.
Yeah, no need to edit it. This is off the cuff, and yeah, he's not going to be listening to this anyway. And especially not this late into it. He would probably just listen to the first 2 minutes and then leave. Yeah. And yeah, I was just wondering about Ryan Falcone and Phil because it's. I figured it would be probably WhatsApp or a Skype call or something like that, but I just thought maybe there's some plan of them, like of Ryan, like coming to Toronto or something that I wasn't aware of. So that's why I was wondering. But anyways, just to close it off, I actually wanted to say that Griff asked me to be a part of the fantasy football. I actually don't know really how that works. I'm a noob still, when it comes to sports in general.
That's why I'll have you here for it.
Yeah.
Andrew DeLuca may also be joining us for that one. And also to mention, too, we'll probably have Phil and Ryan in different segments of the podcast, by the way. Like, one helping with one set of positions, like one doing... the ideal plan is to have one doing whether the best players for, like, quarterback, running back, and, like, receiver, and what's the best options for, like, the rest of, like, tight ends, what defenses, if you're in a defensive player one, which one to do. Basically, we're going to help you out with fantasy regular season football, not DraftKings, because we are not, and we do not promote degenerate gambling on this podcast. And also because Daily Fantasy 2 is also really hard and really dumb to play. And also something new I've noticed, too, about tonight's show is that whenever a superstar comes out, they're advertising their fucking merch from the shop on the side. They're either really hurting for sales or they're really just trying to get the people to buy from shop.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I don't mind it during the entrance if it's just extra marketing. Who cares, really? can't really help it. It's WWE. They're going to do what they want. Yeah, so I will be, hopefully I'll be completely filled in with how this fantasy football thing works. And hey, I mean, degenerate gambling can be fun. Who knows? Not really. I know who you're joking about though over there.
No, I'm not joking about anyone. I'm just saying like it's just because with the daily fantasy ones, it costs you end up spending more money than you end up making unless you're one of like the 1 in 2 million people that win like $100,000 or more. Like it's very hard to win money on the daily fantasy just because you think you have the right roster. Because that's why with fantasy football it's great because you basically have your roster for the week, you have the roster for the season, but you know what? You can change it up weekly. Like you can be like 1 week it can be, hey, I'm gonna pick Tom Brady because he had a 4-touchdown game in week 2, but then the next week the Patriots have a shit game and lose. And it's or more or less not even Tom Brady is a bad game, but it's like the running game dominates and Brady only has like 200 yards and a touchdown, and the running back ran for 175 yards and put up 3 touchdowns, and yeah, like it's just and had an extra point return or an extra point kickoff return. I am so sorry. I'm so lost. I'm getting a little tired. It's almost past my bedtime, but yeah, like just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, so pretty much that's it, guys. This was obviously fun. Like I said, I liked that we kind of went off the side of wrestling and you just kind of just talked about some personal stuff. That's always fun, just discussing some real life issues. But yeah, this was a fun night. We've been going on for a while now, and Bobby Lashley versus no, actually Ember Moon just came out. So
if it's her versus the Riot Squad again, this show is officially worse than Buffalo.
Yeah, but just to say, I mean, damn, I thought Raw has already been dragging out, and I realized it's not even close to over yet. But it is what it is. That's just typical Raw nowadays. Putting that aside, yeah, it is getting a little bit late for. It's 10:24, but we're just gonna finish up with Raw over here. We both have work tomorrow, and then the rest of the week will go fine. We'll see you guys next week. Until then, later, bitches.
I ain't going to say the line that I said in my 716 video because I learned from that before. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for listening. Hopefully you made it through this entire podcast. We know we went on for a little bit longer than we wanted to, but you know what? Shit happens. But anyway, guys, like, comment, subscribe, share. Do what you got to do. Get No Holds Barred more popular. Get the word out. Tell your mother, tell your father, tell your grandmother, tell your grandfather, tell your aunt, tell your uncle. Tell whoever you want. Tell your neighbor. Tell your dog. Tell the guy at the local Chevron dealership if you're from the States, or so if you're in Canada. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for listening once again. Get me to 700. If you're listening to this, you're on Team Griff. Nightmare 10 says he's going to start a podcast. He ain't started one yet. That's just you, Phil. You love women's wrestling, but I bet you won't even go to Evolution. Just a side note. I'm going to save those for tomorrow, guys. Tuesday Night Live tomorrow. Baby, let's go. But anyway, thank you very much for listening, guys. See you in the next podcast, and I'll see you in more videos. Main Mark Murph, man. Road to 1,000, December 31st, 2018. I want 1,000 subs. Hopefully I get it soon. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for listening. Have a good night.